If that dynamic sounds familiar to you in any way, then you already understand that this is a gold standard for gaslighting.
No, stop it. AI with the therapy speak. Please don't learn definitions like gaslighting from AI SpongeBob channels. Please don't do that.
They each have a chocolate bar. The deal is simple. They'll share everything equally.
Oh my God, it's not that hard to explain. They both have a chocolate bar. The deal is they should just say they have chocolate bars and he eats one. Oh my God.
That's the whole foundation of their survival plan.
Oh my God. They never shut up. This is a bit of a cold take as far as SpongeBob the show goes. Patrick is a bad friend. If you've never seen SpongeBob the show, Patrick is the best friend of SpongeBob, and because it's a cartoon, a lot of silly things happen. You know, sometimes cartoon characters do cartoonish things, so some people will take Patrick as a character and they will take cartoon actions and they will take them at face value and be like, haha, Patrick's a bad friend. Now, there are some episodes where Patrick is like in the wrong or there is an issue with them between friendship stuff, and that's like the point of the story. And I feel like this video is probably going to take stuff like that and be insufferable about it and be like, oh, that means Patrick's a bad friend, when really like it's just like a character flaw thing. We're going to talk about that when they inevitably do it. Why is there a question mark? Why is there a question mark? Good question. Why Patrick is not SpongeBob's friend and how it relates to you? There's no, that is not a question. SpongeTruths is, I mean, I don't want to say illiterate. It could be a translation thing. We've theorized that SpongeTruths is someone who does not speak English, and some of the weird stuff is just translation issues. There are definitely like grammatical things. What was one? Oh yeah, we talked about this Mr. Krabs one a while ago. Times Mr. Krabs got what he deserved, like Krabs with the apostrophe S and Mr's not capitalized. Mr. not being capitalized, that's just sloppy. That's not a language barrier thing. Like, I feel like, I mean, could it be? I don't know. But that could just be kind of a language barrier thing, so I don't want to fully say it, but like, it could just be general illiteracy. I mean, I don't know. I don't know who runs SpongeTruths, and they can't be that smart. They have to use AI to make their videos. They can't make actual videos. My guess is that the AI saw a sentence beginning with why or how and put a question mark. Would AI write the titles? I mean, a title, how long does it take to come up with a title of something? And that would be so easy to fix. Like, let's say that is the case, that AI wrote the title and they were like, yep. And then they just put it in. Like, it takes like 2 seconds to go into the video and just take out the question marks, be like, oh, that's not, it thought it was a question, but that's not a question. And then you just take it out. But they don't even think about that. They just go, get out there, video. By the way, 90K views. SpongeTruths has been kind of on the up and up lately, by the way. It's kind of crazy. Like, they just had a 500K, this like Narlene one. I'm gonna cover this Narlene one soon, but I'm planning a big Camp Coral video. I haven't finished watching all of Camp Coral, so I'd like to have all of the knowledge about Narlene, about Camp Coral, when I criticize this video. But this video has been like their pop off lately. 508K, and they got like 90K, 95K on this nonsense. We're gonna talk about this video later, by the way. The secret room with the what is even happening here?
If there's one thing everybody agrees on when it comes to SpongeBob, it's that SpongeBob and Patrick are best friends. Like, that's
if there's one thing that everyone agrees on, it's that they're best friends. I guess agrees on, I thought that it was going to say, when it said agrees on, I thought it was going to say, if there's one thing everyone agrees on in SpongeBob, it's that Patrick is a bad friend. It's that they're best friends. Wait, people don't agree on that, really. That's kind of the premise. That's kind of the reason that this video exists, is because a lot of people don't think that. They're like, oh, Patrick's not a good friend. Squidward's a better friend because Squidward stood up for him in pizza delivery. You're just, if there's one thing that everyone agrees on, it's this thing that the show states. What a weird phrasing. Yes or no checkbox with no questions. Yeah, what does this mean? Yes, no, yes, no. What is that referring to? Why are there checkboxes? Wait, is that trying to say that what everyone is agreeing on with the yes, no is that they're best friends? Like, this is supposed to be the audience? Or is it that like, oh yeah, like Squidward, they're agreeing? What is yes, no? What is this? This would have to be made by a human editor. Why is it as incoherent as if AI made it when a human editor put this together? I'm very amused by the idea of letting a snail vote on this. What are they voting on? Yes, no, yes, no. Weird. I Love Turtles 101 says, I love turtles. Well, thank you, I Love Turtles 101. Are you the person who commented that my video was so negative it made your turtle sad? Because that genuinely made me sad.
For every wholesome Patrick moment, there are about 5 others where SpongeBob is either getting humiliated, losing...
That's a pretty strong claim. For every one wholesome moment, there are about 5 others. I kind of get the sentiment, but whenever I would write something like that, if I wrote a line like that, if I was making a claim, for every good thing, there's 5 bad things, I wouldn't word it like that because you're wording it with a number. Like, it's kind of almost provably false. I mean, he's kind of right. Patrick is a jerk sometimes. Yeah, but it's saying, I'm not disputing that Patrick can be a jerk sometimes. It's that it's saying for every one good moment, there's 5 bad moments. Like, that's a huge claim. That means that Patrick is mean to SpongeBob 5 times more often than he's nice to SpongeBob. And that just, even the way I'm saying it right now, that sounds false. It's for dramatic effect. If it's for dramatic effect, you shouldn't use a number. You shouldn't say it's 5 times more. If you're saying it for dramatic effect, you can say seems like, you can say this. Numbers mean data. Numbers mean facts. If you're saying something is number this, you should be prepared to back it up with data. And this particular claim, to actually substantiate this claim of Patrick is mean to SpongeBob 5 times more than he's nice to SpongeBob, you would have to watch every episode of the show and actually count the amount and see if the number is around that. Obviously, they didn't do that. And even like if you could have like AI do that, which I wouldn't condone, but like I guess if anything could do that, AI could. You know, it'd be kind of silly to rewatch all of SpongeBob just to make one claim about Patrick with a number when you could just easily say, it seems like Patrick is mean to SpongeBob more than he's nice to SpongeBob, which is a not data-driven claim.
And the even worse part, you probably know somebody exactly like this.
Okay, you probably know somebody exactly like this. This right here is the reason I want to talk about this video. I'm going to go through and I'm going to talk about how it gets stuff wrong, you know, the usual stuff, like, you know, we get the hits or whatever. But I'm also trying to, with these stream segments, talk about different subjects that have to do with AI. I'm not just going to go through all of SpongeTruth's library and just like nitpick every little thing that they do, because I want to talk about unique problems with using AI to make videos, with why these videos are socially bad. All right. I'm not just saying, oh, these videos suck. Like, I'm saying that these videos are a social problem. In this particular video, the social problem that I am pointing out in this video is AI moralizing. AI should not discuss matters of morality. I mean, I think like generative AI like shouldn't exist or whatever. You know, I've stated my positions on generative AI many times. If you don't know exactly what they are, just, you know, watch me more, they'll come up. But my point is, if we're going to have these things, if we're going to have this thing where you have a AI thing and you are like, give me an answer to a question. Like, that's like that's like the main thing that people like about AI that like sounds reasonable. You know, this idea, like if you see any like commercial for like Google Gemini or whatever, the guy will be like, what's the best Mexican restaurant in my town? And the AI will like figure it out for them or whatever. Like, you couldn't do that before like Google search, but you know, like that's what it will, that's what it'll say. But that's like kind of the idea of like how AI makes your life easier is it can more quickly answer your questions. Oh, it'll give you a recipe immediately. And in a vacuum, I don't think that that's so bad. Like the idea of, because that's like just like a really advanced Google search. Like that's kind of fine. Now you get into the issues with it gets stuff wrong. It hallucinates. It tries to talk to you like a person. It takes so much more processing power and it poisons your water supply. It's all that sort of stuff. You know, all this, you know, all these other questions about it come up in that. But in a vacuum, the idea of asking a thing on your phone to give you a really precise answer to something, that's pretty good. That is world-changing technology. Even with Google search, Google search can give you answers pretty fast, but you sometimes have to look. You'd have to, you know, like there are positives to the idea of that. But if you're going to have this thing that's going to give you answers, it should only give you factual answers. Like the example I just provided. What's a recipe? What is a recipe for chicken cutlets? What's a good what's the good, well, good is subjective, so that actually might be a problem. But what is a Mexican restaurant in my area? I guess if it's going to be like subjective, if you ask it something subjective, like what's a good Mexican restaurant, I could just go by like the Yelp reviews or whatever, like something a person said, and say this person said this and give you the source, rather than AI saying I am the authority, I say this is the best restaurant by using other people's Yelp reviews. One problem that I'm seeing a lot with AI is asking it questions of morality. This video is talking about Patrick being a bad friend. That's a moral statement. Someone being a bad friend. Someone being it's almost like biblical, even like bad. I guess you would call it a neighbor if you were talking more like biblically or religiously. Love thy neighbor, be a good person, be a good neighbor, be a good friend, be a good brother, even, if you go to that as well. Like, being a good person is a very moral discussion. And I think that this is a discussion that AI, as long as it's going to exist, should just butt out of. It should just be like if you ask AI, if you go like, hey, ChatGPT, what does it mean to be a good friend? It should respond to you and say, I'm a robot. I don't know how to answer that. You got to figure that one out for yourself, dude. So when you have something like SpongeTruths, which first of all, SpongeTruths claims to not be AI. Most people who watch this are probably iPad kids who aren't really engaging with it at all. But let's say like what it's actually being presented as is I, SpongeTruths, am an authority on Patrick being a bad friend, and it even says how it relates to you. You should be a good friend, and here's how I'm going to tell you how to be a good friend. But the problem is that this is not a real person. It's not giving you a real perspective. Now, it takes an amalgamation of human perspectives, but that's going to give you the lowest common denominator, the median. Whereas if there was a person who was even if I did it, and I'm more of like an arts person, like I don't know how much of an authority you could say on what I would be of like how to be a good friend or whatever. But at least if I'm a person, you're going to get a very specific perspective. And if I'm someone who's able to achieve getting a lot of like YouTube subscribers, obviously not everyone who's ever gotten a lot of YouTube subscribers is immediately a good person. There's definitely plenty of people who have lots of success on YouTube who are bad people. But that at least is like a barrier to entry. It's like you have to be a certain kind of charismatic to be a YouTuber. You have to have a certain kind of knowledge of these subjects in order to discuss them. And AI removes all of that barrier because you can brute force 3 videos a week, brings you to a point where you can make these videos and come off as you're an authority on something when you're really saying nothing. And that has disastrous social consequences because there will be people who will watch this video and they will genuinely retain the things that the AI is saying about friendship. And that is going to have negative social consequences.
Now, I think we can begin with probably the most common type of bad friend out there. The one who only really needs you when it's convenient for them. Like in I'm with Stupid. So Patrick's parents are...
I knew that they would talk about this. I knew that this would be like the first one. I'm with Stupid. I knew that would be just the first one. That's like the main Patrick being a bad friend episode. And true, this episode is a little flawed with the way that Patrick is.
However, SpongeBob, being the world's most loyal friend, comes up with a plan. He'll pretend to be the dumb one.
SpongeBob being the world's most loyal friend. That's a interesting framing because SpongeBob himself isn't always a good friend either. SpongeBob is a flawed person as well. Another thing that AI will do when writing these videos, it will do anything to prove its narrative. And it just went, SpongeBob is the best friend ever to anyone, to try and push that narrative, because the whole point of this video is Patrick is a bad friend. And when you say, hey, AI, write me a video about how Patrick's a bad friend, it's going to do anything to just prove that. It's kind of like how people say when you like talk to AI, like it always like agrees with you, it tells you like you're the best person. Like if you've seen like, I think I should find it. ChatGPT to someone's divorced dad right now.
You're right. The phone does work both ways.
So it's just agreeing with like typical, like, bad parent things that they would say, and it's agreeing with them. It's reinforcing it.
And honestly, it takes a lot of courage to tell that to your 13-year-old daughter.
Okay, so that is this, but with Patrick. So like when you say that like to AI, you'll be like, make me a video about how Patrick is a bad friend. It'll basically do that, where it's like, okay, well, like SpongeBob is the main subject of the video in terms of the victim. So the AI will decide SpongeBob is the one who's in the right, Patrick is the one who is in the wrong, and it's going to do basically that and always side with SpongeBob against Patrick in order to fit this specific narrative. Again, this is why AI should not make moral decisions, because when it comes to a person, so like people can also be wrong. Like a person is usually going to be similarly to an AI going to dig in on them being right. Like, for example, in that like TikTok with like the divorced dad who's going to say the phone works both ways. That person would think that they're right. But the problem with an AI is that it gives another authority on that being right. And it just makes people dig in to what their own biases are. Because an AI is not going to tell you, like, there's not going to be an AI, I'd like to see an actual test to it. Like, I know that person was doing a bit, but like, if you actually went to an AI and you were like a bad parent and you were saying, I think all of these things that are like clearly negative, that like most people, vast majority of people would think is wrong, like telling a 13-year-old the phone works both ways. Do you think that the AI bot would be like, actually, I think you're wrong? Like maybe it would. I don't know. I don't really use them, but like, I don't think they'd really get a lot of business if they disagreed with their customers. Okay, so this is not a great episode. Like I'm with Stupid is considered one of the worst classic SpongeBob episodes for a couple of reasons. I haven't watched it in a while. It's kind of been overdone in terms of it being criticized. Like if I did an I'm with Stupid video, I feel like I wouldn't really have that much to say about it that hasn't already been said. That's why when I criticized The Bully as a classic SpongeBob episode, because The Bully hasn't really gotten as much criticism as like I'm with Stupid. I even mentioned I'm with Stupid in The Bully as like this is a commonly criticized episode. So I haven't seen I'm with Stupid in a long time. So the problem with what SpongeTruths is saying right here is that this is not actually the issue with the episode at all.
Patrick gets so comfortable in the bit that it feels like he stops pretending.
So that criticism is not what's wrong with the episode at all. If you're criticizing the episode based on just that, I guess you're correct if you're saying that it means that Patrick is not a good friend, which is kind of the point of the video, but it's also being presented as a flaw in the episode itself. And that is not a flaw in the episode itself. It's not a flaw in the episode's writing. The issue with the episode is not that Patrick leans into bullying SpongeBob for being stupid when SpongeBob pretends to be stupid, because that is just his character flaw. The problem with the episode is that Patrick does not meaningfully learn his lesson. There's no moment where Patrick is like, oh, that was wrong, I'm sorry. That's like not that, and that's kind of a thing that would be required in a narrative like this if the characters are supposed to be best friends otherwise. Like the kind of friendship that SpongeBob and Patrick have of they are best friends, they should hang out, requires that in an episode like this, you need Patrick to feel remorse and say, I'm sorry, I won't do it again, or something like that. Whereas like if you had something like this happen in like South Park, if like Cartman was being as big of a jerk as Patrick is in this episode to like Kyle or something, you wouldn't have to have Cartman at the end of the episode be like, oh, I'm sorry, Kyle, I won't do it again. Because Cartman's always a jerk to Kyle. That's their dynamic. Whereas the fact that SpongeBob and Patrick are usually friends, when you have them do something like this, you need some element of forgiveness to kind of reset the status quo. So that's the actual criticism of the episode, but instead it's criticizing Patrick's behavior. But Patrick's behavior in the episode is the point of the episode. The reason that Patrick does this is because he's insecure. And that actually is good writing. The problem with this episode is the ending, not the actual episode itself, at least from a story perspective. There's probably other stuff you could criticize about like humor or this or that. Again, I haven't seen the episode in a while.
And instead of stepping in to defend the guy who was literally embarrassing himself as a personal favor, Patrick just lets it happen.
Yeah, that's just describing the character flaw. This is actually why, like, the way that I talk in my videos, and this is not specifically an AI problem. There are plenty of creators who were human creators for decades even. I talked about this in my Squidward torture video when I talked about the security system takes control of Squidward's house. This is why it's so important to use terms like character flaw, character arc. The story is trying to communicate this narratively deserved. You hear me say these things all the time in my videos. SpongeTruth never says anything like that. He is criticizing the episode as if he exists in the world. The point, and yes, a person doing what Patrick does is wrong, but that's the point of the episode. The episode is trying to tell us that. Stop training the AI is what I'm doing right now, training the AI. I don't think AI would be able to actually meaningfully figure out what I'm saying. I think no matter how much because there have been creators who talk about the right things when they criticize media before me. I'm not the first guy to do it. AI just isn't capable of making those kinds of observations. It just really isn't. Like, maybe you could have AI say something like character flaw or narratively deserved or all that sort of stuff. And maybe if I say it as often and it catches on more as a term, AI will start using it, but it's not going to get it as correctly. Whereas something shallow, like Patrick is a jerk in this episode, it's going to be able to do that.
You've met this person. Usually they call you when they need a favor.
Usually they call you when they need a favor. I don't think Patrick asked him for help. I think SpongeBob offered. So already it's getting the details of the episode wrong in order to moralize it. So it's taking a thing that is complained about, a friend who like only needs you when they need you. And there are people like that, by the way. Those people do exist. I've known people like that. Like that does exist. Like that is a thing that is real. But the problem with an AI pointing that out and not a person is that this AI has never had like I just said, I've known a person like that. Personal experience informs me saying that. When I say I knew a person like that, I'm thinking of the person that I'm talking about in my brain right now. AI doesn't do that. It just takes it from a person who said it before. Now, that person who said it before on the internet, on Reddit or something, who said, I had a friend who was only there when they needed something, that was based on a real person. It was based on a real perspective. But the AI doesn't know that. The AI is just saying it because it was there and it fits this narrative. And that weakens what it is. Not to mention that it's literally just getting the episode wrong. SpongeBob offered. So it's saying that, hey, thank you so much. I'm proud of you for the $100 super chat. Wow, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. So anyway, it's getting the episode wrong as well, because Patrick did not ask SpongeBob for help. And that's kind of an issue because you shouldn't look at this episode and get that from it, that Patrick is a person who only asks you for help when he needs you. Because first of all, Patrick is not that. Patrick has never been portrayed as that kind of friend. SpongeBob and Patrick hang out all the time. Also, SpongeBob asks Patrick for help. Literally the first two episodes, I guess Reef Blower's in between them. But if you take, Patrick's not in Reef Blower. If you take very first 22 minutes of SpongeBob, Help Wanted, Reef Blower, Tea at the Tree Dome, Patrick's not in Reef Blower. So in Help Wanted, the first thing that Patrick does, the way that we are introduced to him as a character, is he stands outside of the Krusty Krab because he went all the way to the Krusty Krab. He was at his house. He had no reason to be there. He came out of his house. He said, go SpongeBob. And SpongeBob goes up to the Krusty Krab and he goes, I can't do it. And he turns around and Patrick's standing there, which means that Patrick knows his friend well enough that he followed him to the Krusty Krab just so that if SpongeBob got nervous, he would be standing there to talk him out of it. Literally, that is the introduction to the character. And then in Tea at the Tree Dome, when SpongeBob meets Sandy and she talks about air and SpongeBob doesn't know what air is because he lives underwater, who does he go to? Patrick. He asks Patrick for help. Patrick is there for him in both of those instances. What are you talking about? Patrick's the kind of friend who is only there when you need him. You're just trying to fit a narrative like this. That kind of friend, a friend who's only there when you need him, wouldn't really work as a SpongeBob character because that would be too unlikable of a character. You know, like that kind of person, they just wouldn't really work in a show like this unless they were like a one episode character. who like only does that, because that's a kind of toxic person.
Someone to make them look good in front of people.
Why is woman disguise of Patrick from that one episode where he pretended to be a woman because he thought that someone was after him in here? Does the editor think that this is Patrick's sister? Because Patrick does have a so okay, I think I might know why this is happening. So Patrick has a sister. Well, Patrick has a sister, and there's the Big Sister Sam episode, but in the Patrick Star Show, in a much more prominent sense, Patrick has a sister in Squidina in modern SpongeBob, not back when this episode was made. So they put in Patrick's female version as, I guess, implied to be Patrick's sister. What? What is this? How do you not know? How do you not know? Like, you're the editor for this SpongeBob channel. You've never seen the show? I mean, like, I guess you could not know that, but why would you make this judgment? Like, why would you put this in if you're the editor? Why would you put in, because the episode itself, you must have looked at the episode. You have the footage of the episode. There's no sister in the episode. So why would you put this in? I don't understand.
It's not necessarily malicious, as in he wants to do harmful stuff to you, and yet that
It's not necessarily malicious. It's not this, it's this.
almost makes it worse, because at least if it was malicious, you could honestly get mad about it. But wait,
But it would be malicious. The whole point is Patrick's doing it to make himself feel better. Patrick is insecure. I guess you could argue that it's that he's so stupid that he doesn't realize that it's a joke. I don't think that's the point, though. I think it's insecurity. I'm with Stupid sets up Patrick as someone who is insecure about his intelligence. And the reason that he bullies SpongeBob is because he's insecure about his own intelligence. So finding someone else who's stupid and making fun of them makes him feel better about himself. That is malicious. That is actually malicious. In fact, acting like he's only doing it because he's so stupid he doesn't realize not only robs the episode of having an actual meaningful character flaw that it's criticizing, it also is obfuscating Patrick being a bad friend. You're actually arguing that he's a good friend, or at least you're not arguing that he's a bad friend, because if someone does something because they're stupid, sure, that could make them not a good person to be friends with, but a bad friend means that you make actively selfish choices. If you're being dumb, if you make a choice because you are stupid, you're not exactly making an actively bad choice, even if the choice ends up being the same. Again, I'm a human, so I can actually like kind of parse that moral ambiguity there. AI can't parse that moral ambiguity because AI is not a person.
in yours, mine, and mine.
Man, I should have done a thing where I like guessed every episode that they would have talked about, because I'd be 2 for 2 right now. What are some other ones? I promise I have not pre-watched. Let me try to guess some other ones I think are going to be in it. Definitely The Card. No way it doesn't talk about The Card. New Student Starfish, I'd say is like 50-50. At the top of my head, I can't really think of that many other ones where he's that bad of a Pet Sitter Pat and Patrick's Staycation. I don't think I've seen those episodes. I've probably seen Pet Sitter Pat. What's Pet Sitter? Is that season 7, season 8? I really can't think of that many episodes where Patrick is a bad friend, actually. I think he's actually a pretty good friend.
Mr. Krabs, in a rare moment of creativity, puts a toy inside the kids' meal.
Mr. Krabs in a rare moment of creativity? Like, I mean, I guess Mr. Krabs isn't particularly like creative, but I wouldn't say he's uncreative. Like, do we see how that's a problem where like AI, it just tries to make big claims when there are no claims to be made in a rare moment of creativity? When you're commenting on a character, creativity is not really a part of Mr. Krabs as a character at all. It's just not a part of his character. He's a businessman, you know? It doesn't mean he's specifically not creative. Like, you could have a character, like, off the top of my head, well, let's say you have a character from a TV show where they're like a movie producer, and they're like a really by the books, you know, movie producer, and they have no creativity. Them not being creative is a part of their character because it's a conflict that they're a movie producer and they're not creative. They just care about like making money or whatever. That could be a character where you'd be like, in a rare moment of creativity. But Mr. Krabs is not really not creative nor creative. Mr. Krabs is just a businessman. But I wouldn't say he's not creative at all. It's just a weird claim to make about something. And it's only doing it to be like opinionated for no reason.
Except Patrick just never gives it back. Every time.
Yes, that is his character flaw of the episode. The character flaw is that he keeps the toy because he wants the toy. That is a character flaw. There is a criticism of this episode because I remember the last line of this episode is Patrick saying, "Haven't you learned anything about sharing?" Meaning that he didn't learn his lesson. So I have the same criticism of this episode that I would have I'm with Stupid. Patrick does not meaningfully overcome the character flaw. And the kind of friendship that SpongeBob and Patrick have, he should overcome the character flaw. But if anything, me saying that that is a flaw in the episode is an acknowledgement that SpongeBob and Patrick are good friends. This episode being bad is because they're supposed to be good friends, and this episode is getting that wrong. But the narrative of this video is that Patrick is a bad friend always. But it's using episodes where the actual criticism of these episodes is these are poorly written episodes because Patrick is supposed to be a good friend, not Patrick is a bad friend. So this is kind of the issue with narrativizing and not understanding story and all this sort of stuff. And these are things that AI can never understand.
SpongeBob asks for his turn, Patrick has some sort of excuse. Either he's not done yet, or just a little bit longer, or maybe later. And then at the end...
Yes, this is what happens with children. This is a common thing. The point of this episode is to show that because the audience, it's a family show, so there's a lot of kids in the audience. It's to show kids that sometimes people won't share with you, and it happens sometimes. And it's supposed to teach you to not be like Patrick. And because at the end of the episode, Patrick doesn't apologize, it weakens that message, and that's what makes it a not good episode. Let's see if it actually criticizes that part of the episode. It didn't with I'm with Stupid. It didn't criticize I'm with Stupid by saying at the end, Patrick doesn't learn his lesson. It's the main thing that you would criticize about I'm with Stupid. Let's see if it does it here.
And then he has the nerve to say,
Patrick, that's my money.
Have you learned nothing about sharing?
Oh, look, it's talking about the ending. So it brought up the end, but it brought up the end as that's just another thing that makes him a jerk. It didn't bring up the end and say Patrick doesn't even meaningfully change at the end of the episode. It should have said that, but it didn't because it's AI and it doesn't know that. Jackson, do you think original SpongeBob would have greatly benefited if SpongeBob had another friend who can fit the bad friend flaws so Patrick can always be dumb and loyal and just a bro? Good question. No, I think that the SpongeBob characters as they stand are the perfect archetypes for what they are. That's one of the things that makes SpongeBob such a great show. And it's also one of the reasons why in modern episodes people complain about Bubble Bass or like Lady Upturn or that guy with the camera who says amazing. Like a lot of people complain about these characters because they're very one note. Because the SpongeBob characters as they are originally presented represent very specific archetypes, tried and true archetypes. If you look at like literally like hundreds of years old, thousands of years old, even like the Greeks were understanding archetypes. Adding another friend to be the bad friend, I think would kind of weaken the show. And also it would put so much. Something else that SpongeBob does really well is that it doesn't really it has its characters be like sometimes in the wrong, sometimes in the right. Like, okay, in most situations, SpongeBob is the moral center of the show. And Squidward is usually in the wrong. Sometimes Crabs, sometimes Plankton. But it's usually like SpongeBob is the opinion that the writers think you should have. Squidward is the opinion that the writers are against. By showing the interaction between SpongeBob and Squidward, the writers are saying you should be like SpongeBob and not be like Squidward. This is not always the case in every single episode. There are some episodes where SpongeBob is in the wrong and Squidward is in the right. Happens. There are some episodes that are nuanced where both characters are sometimes in the wrong, sometimes not in the wrong. And I think that is something that the show does really well, is that every character in the show can be flawed and be good in a lot of ways. And I think a character that exists to be the bad friend would weaken it. I think that it's a good thing that in some episodes, Patrick isn't always the best friend. You know, like both of these episodes, Yours, Mine, and Mine, and I'm with Stupid, are episodes that are story-wise only ruined by the fact that Patrick doesn't learn his lesson in the end. They could have been the same story, just with the ending being Patrick learns his lesson and says, I'm sorry. And they actually would be good stories. They might not still be good episodes. There could be, maybe the jokes aren't that funny. Maybe some of the parts are like still too mean-spirited. Like there could be problems. But as a story, that's the flaw. That's the problem with those 2 episodes. Patrick acting like a bad friend sometimes is good writing, because sometimes your friend is not a good friend. That's what life is, and acting like it's sensationalist that this character who's the best friend in a show is a bad friend sometimes, and then trying to use it to talk about real friendship is all around just very toxic. Doesn't Plankton sometimes fit the trope of bad friend? In Fun, yes. I guess there's some other episodes where Plankton acts like a friend, but Plankton isn't really a friend. Plankton is a villain. So Plankton more so exists to be a villain for the heroes to defeat. And how the heroes defeat him as a villain is what drives the story. Plankton usually exists to be like pure evil, even though what he wants to do isn't that evil, like just steal a burger recipe. It kind of subverts the usual like evil character, where like an evil character will usually be like trying to like blow up the earth or whatever. Whereas, Plankton still wants to rule the world, but it's mostly like, I want to steal the Krabby Patty formula. It's funny. It's a nice subversion, but that's what Plankton's role is in the story. Not so much to be a bad friend, because in order to be a bad friend, you have to be someone's friend in the first place. Plankton never claims to be someone's friend for him to be a bad friend. He's always the villain anyway. He's not their friend, except in Fun, where Plankton does act like SpongeBob's friend and then betrays him at the end, in which case in that episode he absolutely is a bad friend, and that's the point, and the episode punishes Plankton for being a bad friend even though he doesn't show remorse. But see how I pointed that out? It's actually a great question with Plankton. The ending of Fun is actually not that different from the ending of I'm With Stupid, because in both scenarios the bad friend doesn't learn their lesson. Plankton chooses to continue being a bad friend, doesn't show remorse. Patrick doesn't show remorse in I'm With Stupid. However, the reason that I'm With Stupid is a bad ending and Fun is a good ending is because the status quo of the Plankton-SpongeBob relationship is that Plankton is the villain who is trying to steal the secret formula, which, since SpongeBob he works at the Krusty Krab, that negatively affects SpongeBob. SpongeBob feels a responsibility to protect the secret formula, to protect the Krusty Krab. That puts him at conflict with Plankton. Plankton is the villain. So Plankton not showing remorse for betraying SpongeBob and then getting punished for it is a proper ending for that episode, because still teaches the lesson that you shouldn't do what Plankton does. Whereas in I'm With Stupid and Yours, Mine, and Mine, Patrick not showing remorse, he kind of gets punished at the end of I'm With Stupid because his real parents show up and they think he's stupid anyway, so he doesn't achieve what he tried to achieve. Kind of. It still doesn't teach the lesson properly because SpongeBob and Patrick are supposed to be friends, whereas SpongeBob and Plankton are not supposed to be friends. So it's okay to do it in a SpongeBob Plankton episode and not okay to do it in a SpongeBob Patrick episode. Great question about Plankton, though. Thank you. Plankton acting like a friend is mostly him being manipulative, like in Walking Small. Walking Small is another great example. Totally forgot about that one. Yeah, Plankton also acts like SpongeBob's friend in Walking Small.
And we see that particular brand of carelessness in the card. So there's a rare
Wow.
kind of thing that SpongeBob has probably been hunting down for years.
Wait, what? Bro, watch the episode. What are you talking about? Has been hunting it down for years. He learns what the card is in this scene. There's a whole scene where SpongeBob opens up a pack of cards and he's like, wow, I got the Mermaid Man's Dentures card. And the card shop owner is like, you think those are good cards? Look at this card. This is the best card ever. SpongeBob learns what the card is in this scene. He has not been looking at it for years. But AI will make these sensationalist claims, and then they give it to the editor, who presumably watched the episode because they have the footage for it, and the editor doesn't care. They don't watch the show that they're talking about, and they're supposed to be an authority on if Patrick is a bad friend and how you should think about that in your own life. Like, this is supposed to be something that people should listen to in terms of like how they should live their lives. All right. And don't give me the, oh, well, like, it's just a YouTube video. Oh, it's just like, no, it says Patrick is a bad friend and how it relates to you. It's saying constantly, oh, you know, a person like this. It is moralizing. It is trying to push a moral question to affect people's morality. It's not just some silly video. And they didn't even watch the show that they're talking about.
Patrick gets it by accident because, of course, he does.
Patrick gets it by accident because of course he does. He doesn't get it by, I mean, I guess it's coincidence because Patrick buys the last pack and it has it, and SpongeBob bought all the packs, and then Patrick buys the last one. And it's like kind of like cruel irony that SpongeBob bought all the packs except one, and the one that he didn't buy is the one that had it, and Patrick got it, not him. And it's not really an accident. Like, Patrick chose to buy the pack. I know, like, just the wording is always so off. Like, because AI just doesn't understand context, so it's going to word things just really incorrectly. You should be a teacher. If you were an English teacher, you'd be amazing at it. I used to be a teacher. I was a youth theater teacher for a couple years, a few years back. I directed shows for kids. But if I was a teacher, I wouldn't be able to be a YouTuber because I wouldn't have time. This is like my full-time job now. Sadly, being a YouTuber pays way more than teaching. Well, if you're a successful YouTuber, I might be getting there. I don't know. Well, we're still growing. We're still growing, guys. The editor watched the episode without volume. Unless they're needed a clip with audio, then they'll turn to that specific part and then go mute on the footage again. Probably. I doubt that the editor would take the time to watch the whole episode. I mean, they I'm sure they don't, because that would take what if they're covering. They've already covered 3 episodes. If they watched all 3 episodes, that's like 30 minutes of their time just watching episodes. So I'm sure they don't actually watch the episodes. They have access to them, but they don't watch them. Guys, I found a huge AI channel called Cartoonology. Spread the word. I have my eye on them. Cartoonology. They do like 8-hour videos. Maybe in a future stream, I'll do like if I get this many super chats, I'll watch all of the 8-hour Cartoonology. I'm not gonna do that today. Don't super chat me for that, because I don't want to do it today, because I don't want to promise it, because I don't know if I'd want to do it. But imagine that. I should do that one day though. Watch an entire 8-hour Cartoonology on stream, just a marathon of it, just me like drinking coffee for like, because it'd be like a whole day. Maybe I'd have to do it over 2 days or something, but I'd have to make that like a sub goal or a super chat goal or something. Like, you guys are going to need to earn that one if I'm going to go through that.
It did work out well in the end, though, because Patrick actually somehow got 5 more of the same rare cards.
Hey, count much? Got 5 more of the same card. He has 4 more. The packs had 5 cards. He destroyed 1. The other 4 were the other cards. Hey, ChatGPT, how many R's are in strawberry moment?
I need you to tell me, how many R's are in the word strawberry?
Sure. In the word strawberry, there are actually 2 R's.
In the word strawberry, there are actually 2 R's. Stop spamming 3. Yes, we know that there are 3. Why did you say it a million times? Apparently, the reason that ChatGPT would think that there are 2 R's in strawberry is because there are like debates over like the word berry, or not debates, where people would say, how many R's are in the word berry in strawberry? So they'd say there's 2 R's in the word berry in strawberry is a common question. So the AI saw it as there's 2 R's in strawberry. So this is kind of similar with this, where the packs have 5 cards throughout the episode. So because that's like kind of the main thing in the episode is because SpongeBob opens a bunch of packs in the episode, and the packs all have 5 cards. So at the end, there's 4 cards left. Most of the time in the episode, the cards are seen in groups of 5. Because the packs have 5 cards. In fact, this is the only time that we see 4 cards. Because the reason that there's 4 cards is because it was from a pack of 5 cards and one of the packs got destroyed. Or one of the cards got destroyed. So now it's saying 5 more because most of them are 5. It's just the way that it's going to miss those little things.
And he's kind enough to give SpongeBob the other 4. Or 3, to be precise. But if there's...
Wait, what? Did we hear that? Did we just hear that?
And he's kind enough to give SpongeBob the other 4, or 3 to be precise.
What is this counting? Listen to this.
Because Patrick actually somehow got 5 more of the same rare cards in that one pack that he bought. And he's kind enough to give SpongeBob the other 4, or 3 to be precise. But if there's anything we can learn from this episode...
What? What are we doing here? How does it get it that wrong? A human would never make that mistake. It's in front of you.
It's that Patrick never once considered that SpongeBob's feelings about this card were worth taking seriously.
This is so incorrect. I just talked about this episode in my mean-spirited SpongeBob episodes video. You should be able to check it out. It's a good video. I just talked about this episode. So this episode is fresh in my mind. There is literally a scene like 2 minutes before this one where Patrick says, hey, you like this card so much. Why don't you just keep it? That's literally him doing the thing that SpongeTruth just claimed that he doesn't do. Now, the problem with this episode and why I think this is a bad episode is Patrick says that and then he does a 180. He immediately just goes, can I keep the card till the end of the night? And then he destroys the card. So like that scene is pointless. The scene where he says, why don't you just keep it? But it does, in fact, that scene actually makes Patrick worse because it shows that he's self-aware that the card means something to SpongeBob and he keeps it anyway and destroys it anyway. But he does do that. It's just completely incorrect. I just commented how many R's are in Strawberry and SpongeTruth's most recent video. I do not advocate for harassing SpongeTruths in their comment section. Just leave them alone. They will not change. There's no reason to, but that is kind of funny. That is kind of funny. It's okay if you comment how many R's are in Strawberry. Just don't be obnoxious about it. I'm on the hunt for AI slop and I found this channel called SpongeBob Diaries. Yeah, Ave covered them. They're so small though. I almost feel like I'd be platforming them. I looked them up because Ave did a video on them. Ave's video on them was interesting because they did a video that was about the episode Smart Artificial Intelligence. The video was saying that like AI is dangerous because Smart Artificial Intelligence is a SpongeBob episode that's actually anti-AI. The message of the episode is literally anti-AI. And so the AI was talking about how like AI is dangerous. And that was like kind of the irony. So I thought that was a good video, but I feel like I'd be like, they don't even get many views. Like they're trash. They're not even good at doing something that takes no effort. That's how bad they are at making content. Like if you know, at least SpongeTruths is good at being bad at making content. Like they get results at least. I don't know. Like it's not good that they get results. Obviously that's a huge problem and their content is garbage. But like SpongeBob Diaries, they're just like failing. They're just, they're using all this AI and putting out this complete trash and they're not even getting views. Like it's just embarrassing. Seems like all SpongeTruth is saying is recap an episode where Patrick does something that is considered being a bad friend and say, you know, a guy like this in real life. Like that's basically all it's doing.
That friend who borrows something you care about and then hands it back broken with a shrug.
Actually, Patrick did that in Best Day Ever. But Patrick actually felt bad about it in Best Day Ever. When Patrick broke SpongeBob's jellyfish net, he was like kind of embarrassed about it. So like I guess he did do that, but he actually felt bad about it.
Shows up late to the one thing you actually needed them at on time, who forgets the thing you told them 3
Okay, Patrick doesn't do that to my knowledge.
times because they weren't actually listening any one of those 3 times.
Patrick didn't do any of those things. What do you, except like the first one, kind of. Why are you saying Patrick is like the friend who does these things? And if Patrick did do any of those things in an episode, I don't have complete encyclopedic knowledge of everything Patrick's ever done in the show. If Patrick did do those things, then give an example of an episode. I'm just going to assume you're lying if you don't have an actual example. You can't just be like, oh, he's like this, and then just say, also, these are just shallow r/am I the butthole? Like, you know, like just the most red, like actually talk about what it means to be a good friend. If you're going to do an episode, if you're going to do a video that moralizes friendship, why don't you actually talk about what it means to be a good friend, not just give examples of stuff that is like bad friend behavior.
And if you think that was bad, at least the card was just a card, not your dearest pet. Oh, wait, he does.
Who said Pet Sitter Pat? Who had Pet Sitter Pat? Who had Pet Sitter Pat on the bingo card? You are the lucky winner on The Price is Right if you said Pet Sitter Pat because someone guessed it.
Gary is more than just a pet to SpongeBob.
Oh my God, it's not, Gary is more than just a pet to SpongeBob. So yeah, it's just a typical poorly written Patrick episode where he just does a bunch of messed up stuff. Yeah, whatever. It's the same as the other example.
Who is literally the victim here, gets told he's being ungrateful. Now, if that dynamic sounds familiar to you in any way, then you already understand that this is a gold
standard
for gaslighting.
No, stop it. AI with the therapy speak. Please don't learn definitions like gaslighting from AI SpongeBob channels. Please don't do that. First of all, that's, and I don't want to do my own therapy speak, but that's not really what gaslighting is. Like, gaslighting is, I'd say, like, the most you could say about the background fish is that they like misunderstood the situation. Gaslighting is supposed to be intentional. To my understanding, I'm not a therapist, so I'm not doing the therapy speak and acting like I'm an expert on a very real, gaslighting is a very real accusation that is levied against actually abusive people who actually do damage to people. Okay? This is just ridiculous to be like, it's the background who don't even know SpongeBob. I think the point of gaslighting is that the person who is doing the gaslighting knows that what they're saying is a lie. Like, they know that they're doing it to manipulate the person. So like when you say stuff like this, and they're only saying, and by the way, the intention is also, it's just to be sensationalist. Oh, gaslighting, that's a strong word. I'm going to throw it in. The AI is like, I'm going to throw it in to just make this as narrativized and as spicy as possible. And now little kids who definitely are most of the audience of this channel are going to watch that and they're going to be like, that's gaslighting. And they're going to throw it around. And like, I know that the term gaslighting getting thrown around, that's not exclusive to AI. People have been throwing around that term incorrectly since it became a big term, since it became commonly used. But man,
give SpongeBob a chance to explain, he just immediately decides that he's been wronged and proceeds to destroy an entire theme park.
This is another problem with being so media illiterate or that AI is just by default media illiterate. It's not understanding that the point of this episode, why this episode has Patrick act this way, is to demonstrate a character flaw on both Patrick and SpongeBob. Both SpongeBob and Patrick are flawed in this episode. SpongeBob is actually the character who mostly has a character flaw in Valentine's Day, which is that SpongeBob was not upfront with Patrick. SpongeBob was so wrapped up in giving Patrick the big surprise as the present that he actually ends up messing with Patrick's head. So like when they're at the carnival, Patrick is like, "Oh, what's my present? You're talking about this big present. Where is it?" And like Patrick's like kind of like he's getting all freaked out because SpongeBob is riling him up with this big present. And Sandy like doesn't bring it on time and there's all this sort of stuff. And it's supposed to show that on SpongeBob's part that SpongeBob is so wrapped up in the presentation that it ends up messing with Patrick's head. That's actually the lesson. That's the character flaw that the episode is trying to point out. And Patrick's behavior is, first of all, cartoonish. Okay. Like destroying the stuff in the carnival represents his feelings. You're not supposed to take it literally. You're not supposed to look at it and be like, oh yeah, Patrick is literally like destroying a carnival and causing collateral damage. Like, it's obnoxious. It's media illiterate to be like, oh, that's what's happening here. The point is that because of the emotional stakes of the story, Patrick was made to lash out emotionally. And because it's a cartoon, having him physically destroy stuff communicates that message. Okay. This is meant to communicate that to a 5-year-old. Okay. But unfortunately, we now have the media literacy of 2-year-olds because of all this nonsense. And people will be like, yeah, Patrick's so in the wrong because he destroyed all that stuff on Valentine's Day without understanding at all why these things happen and what the actual story is supposed to be.
Meanwhile, SpongeBob is running around desperately trying to manage the situation that he didn't even cause. While Patrick...
Again, like, I just pointed out, SpongeBob did kind of cause this. Like, he did. Like that's actually the point of the story, is that SpongeBob is the one who is the flawed character. He should have just been more honest about what the present was. He shouldn't have tried to get all wrapped up in the surprise. And that was why this happened. But because the AI, honestly, that's something you should say to a 13-year-old. Like, because of that, the AI is now explicitly on SpongeBob's side because the prompt said, write a video about how Patrick's a bad friend. So the AI will not side against him. You could say, You could make AI write a video where it says that SpongeBob was in the wrong in this one. If you prompted something differently, you could get AI to say, and SpongeBob should have just told Patrick about the present. Like, but in this one, it's saying, oh, he's not in the wrong. And this is why this is all nonsense.
Patrick enjoys it to its fullest after making a huge job for the cleaning crew.
After making a huge job for the cleaning crew. Like, just, again, like, it's a cartoon, okay? The fact that the chocolate thing explodes and the chocolate's all over anything, guess what? It's a cartoon. It's not real. No one had to clean this up. Leaving it, and also he didn't know the thing was going to explode when he bit it. Like, they gave it to you. Give someone a big chocolate thing and they bite into it and it explodes. Like, they don't know. If you give someone a chocolate thing, they're going to bite it. You know, if it explodes and does this much. By the way, cartoonish damage, by the way. There's no thing on Earth where if you bite into it once, the chocolate's going to go this everywhere. So, like, don't get on your high horse and say, oh, you left such a big job for the cleaning crew. He left a big job for the I cannot speak right now. He left such a big job for the cleaning crew. Like, get over yourself. Collabing with SpongeTruths would be really funny. Man. You know what I would do, actually? I would interview SpongeTruths. Or like an editor. I think actually, or like No Villains Are Safe. I think if I'm going to sit here and I'm going to criticize these channels, if I got reached out to by like SpongeTruths or No Villains Are Safe, and they said, I'm involved in the channel, I'm on behalf of the channel, I want to like state my case, I would talk to them. I think that that's only fair. I would ask them about AI. I would say, I think you use AI. I think this. And if SpongeTruth denies using AI, I would bring up the evidence of why I think that they do. And then they would then have the chance to refute that. But I would be open to speaking with them if they wanted to do an interview. I don't think I would collab with them. I wouldn't be like some positive like, SpongeTruth's new video featuring Jackson Finelli. But I would speak with them. I don't think they would want to. I don't think SpongeTruths would want to speak with me. I don't know. But I would be open to that because I think it's only fair if you were going to criticize a channel that you would be open to letting them actually come on your stream and defend themselves. So I would absolutely do that. And I say the same thing with No Villains Are Safe. Like, No Villains Are Safe, I think that they're AI. They claim that they're not AI. If they're like, we're not AI, and they want to talk to me, like I would totally be open to letting them state their case and let the audience decide. I would state my evidence for why I think they're AI. I would definitely speak with them. I think that's only fair. But no, I would not collab with SpongeTruths because I do not respect them as a creator.
It's more or less the same with Life of Crime. One day, Patrick convinces SpongeBob to
Life of Crime. Okay, I would not have guessed this one.
Borrow a balloon with him. His logic being that
no, this is so biased. SpongeBob and Patrick are equally guilty in stealing the balloon. Don't even try with this one. So media illiterate. Mr. Krabs teaches them what borrowing is, and it's actually stealing. So you could maybe argue a little bit against Mr. Krabs, but SpongeBob and Patrick are equal when it comes to stealing the balloon. Yeah, you ate my only food, now I'm going to starve. Maybe in that scene you could say Patrick's a little more in the wrong, but like not for this.
Especially if you broke the very thing that you borrowed. So
that you borrow. Why does the AI voice for SpongeTruths try to sound Canadian? You notice that? It has like a little bit of like a Canadian affect to it. Borrow. I think it says a boot sometimes. But then it doesn't really sound Canadian most of the time. But sometimes there's some of those words like borrow. It's almost like Canadian. It's a way of trying to trick you into thinking it's a real voice. Like, I think that that's kind of the strategy. But like, it is odd that went with Canadian of all things.
They each have a chocolate bar. The deal is simple. They'll share everything equally.
Oh my God, it's not that hard to explain. They both have a chocolate bar. The deal is they should just say they have chocolate bars and he eats one. Oh my God.
That's the whole foundation of their survival plan.
Oh my God. They never shut up.
Patrick eats his chocolate bar immediately. The same day. And then the next thing we know, he accuses SpongeBob of stealing his.
You stole my candy bar!
Not because he genuinely forgot, or at least, even if he did forget, the moment SpongeBob...
Not because he genuinely forgot. No, he absolutely forgot. No way. It's funny. It's the opposite take. Wait, he got this wrong. This is the opposite of I'm with stupid. So in I'm with stupid, he said that Patrick wasn't being malicious. He was just being stupid. Whereas in I'm with stupid, I think that Patrick was being malicious. Patrick knew what was going on and he only leaned into it because he felt insecure, which is malicious. He's doing it for his own personal feelings, is why he's bullying SpongeBob. Whereas in the candy bar scene, I think the whole point, the narrative is trying to say that Patrick is stupid. He ate the candy bar and he forgot. And it's also a high stress situation. They're on the run. They're in this wilderness and they're fighting with each other. But this scene works comedically because Patrick forgot. If Patrick's being like manipulative, if he's going like, ooh, I'm going to pretend I didn't eat the candy bar so I could steal SpongeBob's, that is so out of character. That would be so much more evil and so much more unlikable. And there's no textual evidence for it. Everything in the scene is implying that Patrick just forgot because he's stupid. You ate my only food and now I'm gonna starve. Like that does kind of portray him as like kind of a jerk where it's like, oh, I'm gonna starve when he's all fat and already full. Like obviously that is that kind of the joke there. He's not supposed to be in the right in the scene. He's in the wrong, but he's mostly in the wrong because he's stupid, a little bit of arrogant. But to say that it's like a manipulation tactic is so just for your narrative.
He threatens to turn SpongeBob in for the balloon theft. The balloon that was his idea, that he convinced
was not his idea. It was both of their. I mean, maybe he said it originally. Like maybe he just said, oh, it's borrowing, right? But SpongeBob goes along with it immediately. And like the narrative doesn't do that. The narrative at the end of the episode puts them both in jail. The narrative at the end of the episode has them both confess to the crime. The narrative comments on both of their behaviors equally. Neither one is more in the wrong than the other, except maybe in the chocolate bar scene where Patrick is more in the wrong about that situation. But the subtext of that scene, the thing that's going on below the surface, they're not really arguing about the chocolate bar. They're arguing about what's going on with them. That's also why it's such a brilliant and funny scene, is they're arguing about this chocolate bar when really what's going on is that they're all freaked out by the situation. And that helps with the drama. It helps with the comedy. You're just getting everything wrong.
But this last one is arguably the most interesting case of all.
Oh, it's the most interesting case of all, unlike all of the other examples that are basically you saying the same thing.
It's what happened when Patrick was not able to handle SpongeBob doing something for himself. Nature pants.
You're saying that this is your bombshell example? Are you serious? Wait, dude, Patrick's right in this episode. Patrick is correct. He represents the perspective of you should go live a normal life. And then after Patrick gives up on trying to make SpongeBob come back by like catching him and putting him in a jar and forcing him to come back, SpongeBob realizes that he made the wrong choice.
Now look, is this a rational decision? No, absolutely not. But it's his decision. He's not hurting anyone other than him. He's just following something that feels right to him at that moment. And how does Patrick respond to him?
Well, like, he's not hurting anyone other than him, but a real friend wouldn't just let you make a decision that hurts you. I think Patrick was a real, like, you're using an example of Patrick being, I mean, I guess it's kind of ambiguous. Like, he's tried to catch him with a jellyfish net. Like, is Patrick trying to kill him? He says, I want to have you as a trophy. I guess it's kind of ambiguous, but like in the text, it's really like Patrick is the one who's like, no, you're making a bad decision, SpongeBob. I am going to come after you and make you come home because you are making the wrong choice. And he's right. Honestly, that makes him a more true friend than anything else. That's a big example of Patrick being a good friend.
His best friend making a personal choice about his own life? Well, first he cries, which, okay, fine, fair enough.
It was personal choice nonsense. I get, this is also another thing that AI can muddy. Like the idea of allowing your friend to make a personal choice that you don't agree with. There is so much nuance to that. There are times where you could try to force your friend to not do something that you think they shouldn't do, and you could be completely in the wrong and you could be a bad friend. But in the case of this episode, Patrick is right. It depends on the situation. But SpongeTruths and the AI is saying blatantly, when your friend wants to do something and you try to do something to not let them, that makes you a bad friend, blanketly. But that doesn't always apply to anything. There are probably situations out there where there are people who could have made really bad choices and their friend, like, you know, let's say you had like a toxic ex or something and your friend like stole your phone so you couldn't text your toxic ex or something. And then while they stole your phone, you got over it and you didn't text the toxic ex. Like, sure, was it right for your friend to like steal your phone or to like make that decision for you or say you're not making that decision? Possibly not. But in that specific situation, there's enough nuance where it could be that action of your friend stealing your phone and forcing you to not text your ex could have been life-saving because they did the wrong thing, you know? Like there's so much nuance to this sort of stuff that AI would never understand. And that's another issue with like AI answering questions of morality is that it's going to frame those questions in a way that's going to be satisfying to you personally because you are the one using the AI. AI will always want to be on the side of the user because you're not going to use it anymore if it doesn't agree with you. And in this case of SpongeTruths, they wanted to write a video. So it's on the side of SpongeBob against Patrick because that's the narrative of the video that the user of the AI wants. But another thing that it's going to do that's going to be a problem is that it's going to authoritatively apply specific rules to specific situations when all situations have certain levels of nuance to them. There are times where someone could make such a bad choice that you're going to have to like force them not to, or like they die. Like there could be such things like that. Like what if this represents like in Nature Pants, another SpongeTruth reference. What if SpongeBob was an alcoholic? That's actually a SpongeTruths video, by the way. I covered it in my SpongeTruths most disgusting videos video. So like, what if SpongeBob was an alcoholic? And like this represents like someone like forcing him, or as much as a person could force someone to like go to rehab. Like there are situations where like you have to like let someone make the correct decisions. And then there are situations where actually like making someone do something is actually the best thing for them. And it just depends on the exact situation. And I think what Nature Pants does really well is that it presents a situation where Patrick really is in the right. He's really in the right for doing what he does. And Patrick fails to make SpongeBob make that decision. SpongeBob does have to make the decision himself because Patrick is unable to force him, which is also very common. But acting like this one size fits all, oh, every time you make someone do something is wrong. Most of the time, sure. I'd say more often than not, making someone do something because you disagree with their choice. Most of the time, I'm sure it's wrong. But that's the problem with AI, is that it's going to, because it just regurgitates stuff that's on the internet, on Reddit, you know, general things, it's going to just regurgitate whatever is the majority opinion. Whereas sometimes there are minority situations, but it's never going to understand that.
He chases him through the jellyfish fields. He tries to physically capture SpongeBob.
He chases him through the jellyfish fields. You know what's so funny? It just said the jellyfish fields. If I wrote that sentence, I would say he chases him through jellyfish fields. Yet whenever the SpongeTruths AI says the Krusty Krab, it says Krusty Krab with no the. So jellyfish fields has the, but Krusty Krab doesn't? It's all backwards.
Now, there's a version of this where you could maybe argue that Patrick just really misses his friend, and he doesn't know how to handle it. And sure, that's not what I'm arguing at all. I'm arguing that Patrick is correct to force his friend to not make a life-ruining decision. Because it would still be wrong. If you argue that he's doing it out of emotion, he'd still be in the wrong. Doing something wrong because you're emotional is still doing something wrong. So I'm not arguing that because that wouldn't be a good argument. The way Patrick responds to SpongeBob's independence says something really specific about
SpongeBob's independence. Are you on his side? Did you watch the episode? He wanted to live in a tree, bro.
To Patrick, SpongeBob's life choices are only valid if they include Patrick.
No, it's not. Are you kidding me? He's living in the forest, or in the SpongeBob's life choices are only valid if they include source. Not this episode. I don't know. Maybe if I had a friend who was going to go live in a tree, I'd try to stop them too. It's not about them making choices that include me or whatever. I don't think we're going to see many laws for AI in the US until the midterm elections in November. Probably not until a while after that. I'd rather see Nuremberg Trials Part 2 first, and then we can do AI laws. But yeah, that'd be nice. Do you like Alex Bale? Never seen an Alex Bale video. Never seen one. Wait, have I seen one? Didn't I see one? Did Alex Bale do the theory that Squidward and Squilliam were a couple? Alex Bale did that theory, then I've seen that video a long time ago. I've seen Skin Theory, but Skin Theory is not Alex Bale. I should probably watch Alex Bale because I should probably watch... I won't watch Alex Bale on stream. I'll watch him off stream, and then I'll watch the AI videos that steal from him on stream, and then we can I'll be informed.
Because when you look back at all of these episodes,
Wait, when you look back at one of those was incorrect. Help Wanted. When you look back at all these episodes, the first one is Help Wanted, an episode that he did not talk about in this video, and an episode where Patrick is unambiguously a good friend. How does that even happen? You didn't even talk about the episode. Why would that title card make it in? I was stupid. That's correct. Yours, mine, and mine. The card. They were correct on all the other ones. Why was Help Wanted there? That's so weird.
Patrick has never really had to ask himself what kind of friend he is, because SpongeBob never made him. And that brings us to the most important question of this.
What does that even mean? He never had to ask himself what kind of friend he is because SpongeBob never made him? He calls him out in one of your examples in Stuck in the Ringer. SpongeBob yells at Patrick and Stuck in the Ringer. So I don't know what you're trying to narrativize here. And then your other examples are like him, like not being in, I'm Was Stupid. He leaves, he runs out of he stops helping Patrick. So I don't think SpongeBob is as much of a pushover as you're trying to point out.
It's not as dark as SpongeBob being
It's not this.
forced to stay because he can't leave. However, he stays because the good moments with Patrick are genuinely good. The jellyfishing, the sandcastles, the laughing at nothing for 20 minutes straight. And when those moments are good, they're really good. Good enough that SpongeBob decides the rest of it is worth putting up with.
No, that's not a thing at all. What are you talking about? Look, it's another this is why AI shouldn't moralize. It's literally saying that because most of the time with Patrick is good, SpongeBob puts up with abuse. Because this is an abusive relationship thing, is when you look at an abusive relationship from the outside, it's oh, how can you be with someone like that? They do all these horrible things for you because the horrible things stick out to you. But in most abusive relationships, they really love the person for most of the time that they're with them. And it's basically saying that, but about Patrick from the funny Talking Sponge show. You can't have these serious conversations just using characters that it doesn't apply to. There just isn't really an episode of SpongeBob that deals with the concept of an abusive relationship. It's just not, just wouldn't work. It's just not that kind of show. It's just not that kind of show. And it doesn't have to be. Not every show has to talk about every subject, okay? It's fine that SpongeBob episodes are usually about being a good friend or all that sort of stuff. You don't have to have SpongeBob have themes of dealing with an abusive relationship. It's actually fine that it doesn't. You can save that for more serious shows with more serious subject matter. You don't need to stretch it and act like that's what it's about when it's not. For your sensationalist, worthless YouTube video.
Most of us stay because mixed in with all the taking advantage and the carelessness and the selfishness are the real moments, genuine ones.
Dude, it's so awful. This is so sick that it's actually comparing. It's comparing. Look at these characters. Can we look at them for a second? Look at their design. It's using these characters to try and make a statement about abusive relationships to make money on their stupid YouTube channel that somehow gets views from iPad kids. That's sick. It's so sick. There are people, I'm seeing people in the chat, people have actually been in abusive relationships. People have actually felt the things that this AI is spouting. And it's just so insulting to those people who have been through that they're haha, funny starfish man is an abusive partner and gets 100,000 views and their AdSense money that whatever they do so they don't have to go get a real job.
Every time SpongeBob shrugs it off and shows up the next day with the same open heart, Patrick gets one more confirmation that nothing really needs to change. And
oh my goodness, dude, it's an episodic show. They're just the titular best friends. They're just the characters who are the close friends in the show. It's not that deep, bro. There's no first of all, these episodes don't have specific continuity. So it's not oh, Patrick did a bad thing in this one episode and SpongeBob forgave him and then they're friends again because it's not how it works.
Patrick, to his credit, probably isn't even aware of it. He's not sitting on his rock at night calculating how much he can get away with. He just knows.
Okay, but abusers do that. So like you're just saying, oh, Patrick's not aware. He's not sitting in his rock calculating what to do. Okay, but abusers do that. Like people, like the kind of person that you just described for like 3 minutes of like someone who like, oh, the good times are good. And then like you keep forgiving them. Abusers, they do sit up at night and they go, how am I going to keep this person manipulated? They actually do that. So now you just painted a picture of an abuser and Patrick as that abuser. And because you put that abuser who probably makes someone's life a living hell who may be watching this, you put that abuser onto Patrick, a likable pink character with green Hawaiian shorts, and you said they're probably not thinking about ways to manipulate you. So that means that a person could watch this who's in an abusive relationship, who's trying to look for a reason to stay with the person, because that's what happens with people who are abused. And they watch this with Patrick in the place of that abuser, and they think, I guess that's like that. Yeah, they're not thinking every night how to abuse me because they're just like Patrick. They're just a little ignorant or a little dumb. Literally, someone could take that from this. This video has been viewed by 90,000 people on average for a video to get that many views. About 15% of those people would need to watch it to the end. That's around 15,000 people who have watched this all the way to the end. Sure, most of those people are probably iPad kids, but I'm sure in that ginormous number of people, the number of people who internalize that with their own abuser, it's not zero. It's not zero. And all of this, and funnily enough, I'll give SpongeTruths the same defense that they're giving to Patrick. SpongeTruths is not thinking about this. They are just stupid, or they're just not thinking about it. Like, it's kind of funny, but you see, I can understand that nuance because I'm a human and I can notice that. I can notice the behavior of different people and make that decision of that's what I think SpongeTruths is doing. And also it's AI. So SpongeTruths is not intentionally doing that because SpongeTruths is literally, whoever's behind SpongeTruths is literally too stupid to understand that because they can't write videos. If you're too stupid to write videos, you're too stupid to understand that. So the AI is just doing that. All SpongeTruths is trying to do is have a sensationalist video that'll get a bunch of views and then they'll get money and they don't have to go get a job that actually produces something for society. And they can continue being a leech. That is SpongeTruth's motivation. Yeah, it's not a Machiavellian thing where they're planning it. Most abusers, though, it is. They are choosing to do it actively. And again, there's also nuance to that. There are abusers that might be like SpongeBob who are just stupid. Doesn't make that much of a difference. You should probably keep them out of your life anyway. But yeah. Whew.
Which means he never has to grow, never has to ask himself any hard questions, never has to become a better friend.
Yeah, he never has to grow and change because he's a cartoon character, and the characters have to be the same in every episode so that you can follow the show easily. If the characters constantly changed over the seasons, then it would be difficult to do an episodic show like this. Like, stop, just stop. Like, this is why media literacy is important. You can't act like a thing that is because of what the show is why a character is the way that they are.
SpongeBob is a cartoon. Patrick is a cartoon. None of this is real. But the reason that...
Oh my goodness, stop doing this. You need to own your takes. This is even worse. You talk for 18 minutes about like Patrick is a bad friend, and most of it was recapping, sure. But you say stuff like, you know, a person like this, you use it to compare it to real life abusers. And then at the end, you're like, oh, but like it's a cartoon, you shouldn't take it seriously. Well, someone has already taken it seriously. Like, that doesn't absolve you from this at all.
This video exists is because the patterns aren't entirely fictional. You've seen them. Maybe you've lived them. Maybe you're living them right now. And if there's one...
Maybe you're living them right now. Acknowledgement that someone watching this could have an abuser that's similar to what they described. Not similar to Patrick. Because there's no abuser that's similar to Patrick. It's ridiculous.
One thing that's worth taking from all of this, it's pretty simple. The SpongeBobs of the world deserve better than endlessly forgiving people who never have to grow because of it. It's true for cartoon sponges, and it goes for you too. Now, if this kind of...
Oh my goodness, with the more... Wait, is that your actual conclusion? SpongeBob and Patrick shouldn't be friends? They should, like, stop being friends? Because, like, that's literally, like, not the point of the characters. But that would be the point of, like, someone who actually has, like, a bad friend in their own life.